A 19-year-old superstar, barely stepping into the prime of his life, targeted in the one place people consider untouchable, a hospital, poisoned, attacked, and then kidnapped directly from his very hospital bed. Who would even dare attempt something this brazen? Who would risk so much to infiltrate one of the most heavily monitored environments in existence and vanish with the heir to Atlanta rap royalty? The only answer is this: someone with insider knowledge. Someone who knew every hallway, every security rotation, every blind spot. This was no random act. This was a message. Think about the environment we're dealing with here. A hospital is filled with security cameras, alarm systems, restricted doors, rotating staff, and emergency protocols designed to keep patients safe. Yet somehow, King Harris didn't just collapse into critical condition. He was poisoned. And when his family rushed to his side, panicked and terrified, the unthinkable unfolded. Amidst the chaos of monitors blaring, doctors scrambling, and alarms screaming for attention, someone orchestrated a full-blown abduction. How does something like this even happen? Could this have been revenge from rivals who saw him as an easy target? Was it an inside betrayal from someone close to him? Maybe even someone who worked in the hospital itself? Or was it something deeper, an industry-level warning sent to the Harris family as a statement that even royalty can bleed? And let's not forget, his father is none other than Clifford T.I. Harris, Atlanta's rap king, a man with decades of influence and enemies stretching across both music and business. When the news broke that T.I. allegedly stormed into the ICU, yelling at doctors, demanding answers, and raging at staff while cameras rolled, it painted a terrifying picture. Even the powerful are powerless when the enemy moves in the shadows. Anonymous sources whispered of deliberate sabotage, hospital insiders silenced, and security systems mysteriously shutting down at just the right time. With every leak, every anonymous statement, and every fan theory spiraling online, one thing became clear: this wasn't a simple accident. This was war. But let's backtrack for a moment, because to really understand how we got here, we need to talk about King Harris himself. King isn't your ordinary celebrity kid. From the moment he stepped into the public eye, controversy seemed to follow him like a shadow. He was loud, unpredictable, and unafraid to stir the pot. From viral fights in public restaurants to his infamous showdown at Waffle House, from on-stage confrontations with fellow rappers to explosive arguments broadcast live on social media, King Harris wasn't just making headlines, he was painting a giant bullseye on himself. And then there's the family dynamic. Remember the viral clip where King nearly came to blows with his own father, T.I., during a live broadcast? That wasn't just family drama, it was a spectacle. Every meltdown, every reckless word, every chaotic moment became fodder for fans and haters alike. And whether he knew it or not, King was creating enemies. Some laughed, some dismissed him as another reckless rich kid, but others, they saw an opportunity. His behavior wasn't just wild, it was dangerous. Dangerous because it dared the wrong people to act. And act they did. The night of the ICU incident was anything but routine. King Harris didn't stumble in with a flu or minor injury or a random accident. He was poisoned. Let that sink in. Poisoning isn't an accident. Poisoning is deliberate. It means someone wanted him incapacitated. Someone wanted to trigger chaos. Alarms blared, monitors screamed, doctors and nurses scrambled desperately to stabilize him. Witnesses described T.I. yelling, Tiny fainting multiple times, and siblings breaking down in hallways that suddenly felt like war zones. And amidst that chaos, as life and death hung in the balance, someone else was moving silently, surgically, with purpose. Masked figures, described by anonymous staff as moving like they knew the place, entered the ICU. Hospital cameras, usually reliable, always recording, suddenly went dark. A nurse whispered to gossip reporters, "We weren't allowed to record vitals." It was like someone pulled the plug on reality itself. And just like that, King Harris was gone. Within minutes, the internet caught fire. Hashtag SaveHCarris, hashtag ICU kidnap, and hashtag WhereIsKing trended worldwide. Fans dissected blurry CCTV clips, reshared every hospital photo, and created endless threads of theories. Some swore this was revenge from street rivals. Others insisted it was orchestrated by industry insiders threatened by the Harris empire. A darker theory pointed towards a betrayal from within, assistants, friends, maybe even family members. And then came the leaks. Reports, unverified of course, but viral nonetheless, claimed that when King disappeared, so did his personal devices, his phone, his laptop. Files rumored to contain explosive exposures, evidence of industry sabotage, and receipts on people in power. Whether true or not, the possibility was enough to send the internet into overdrive. The narrative was now being controlled by whoever had orchestrated this kidnapping. And the Harris family? They were left scrambling to catch up.
Meanwhile, T.I. was reportedly in a frenzy. Witnesses say he screamed at hospital staff, threatened security, and allegedly shouted, "If my son doesn't come out alive, everyone here pays." Tiny, frail, and terrified, was said to be clutching medical charts while whispering her son's name over and over. The family that once seemed untouchable, always polished, always united in public, was unraveling before the world. And the public wasn't just watching, they were participating. Fans lit candles outside the hospital, hashtags turned into movements. Amateur investigators began digging into staff schedules, leaked security reports, and even patient visitor logs. In a matter of hours, this story became a global spectacle. Anonymous insiders began to post online, adding fuel to the fire. One claim said this wasn't just a kidnapping, it was a warning, a declaration that even a Harris could be touched. Another alleged that suspicious masked visitors had entered the ICU days earlier, posing as staff. Some even suggested the hospital director had been threatened or bribed into silence. And then came the most chilling part. Grainy, leaked footage, just 3 seconds long, blurry, barely discernible, but enough to shake the internet. The clip seemed to show King Harris being wheeled out on a gurney, surrounded by masked figures. The internet called it the most audacious celebrity hospital kidnapping in history. However, the scene inside that ICU was nothing short of chaos turned into catastrophe. King Harris was admitted in critical condition after reports surfaced that he had been poisoned. Nurses and doctors scrambled to stabilize him. Alarms blared as monitors lit up with warnings of his declining vitals. Family members screamed, some in disbelief, some in anger, others in sheer terror. This wasn't a simple health scare. It was a medical emergency brought on by someone's deliberate actions. And then, as if that wasn't enough, the unthinkable happened. Amid the chaos, with alarms blaring and medical staff fighting for his life, masked figures moved into the room with precision. Witnesses described them as calm, coordinated, moving as though they knew exactly what they were doing. Within minutes, monitors were shut down, alarms silenced, and King Harris, helpless, sedated, and entirely dependent on hospital equipment, was wheeled out of the room. Just like that, gone, vanished. In one of the most secure environments you can imagine, someone walked in and took him. The Harris family's reaction to this nightmare is the kind of heartbreak no parent, no sibling, no loved one should ever have to endure. Reports describe T.I. storming into the ICU in a frenzy, demanding answers, confronting staff, and screaming for his son. Witnesses say his voice could be heard throughout the hospital as he shouted at doctors, nurses, and security guards. "Where's my son? Where's my boy?" he cried, tears running down his face, his body shaking with rage and despair. Tiny, King's mother, reportedly fainted multiple times, her body unable to withstand the sheer trauma of watching her son disappear in real time. Zonique, his sister, collapsed in the hallway, sobbing uncontrollably as she tried to process the fact that her brother had been taken from under the family's watch. Hospital staff described the scene as pandemonium. Stretchers being pushed, alarms still ringing, security officers running in every direction, and family members screaming and clinging to each other as the realization hit King Harris wasn't in his bed anymore. He wasn't safe. He wasn't even inside the hospital. He was gone. But here's the part that makes the whole story even darker. This wasn't random. This wasn't sloppy. This wasn't some chaotic snatch and grab by amateurs. This was an inside job. Cameras in the ICU mysteriously went online at the exact moment of the abduction. Security systems glitched out. Nurses whispered they were told not to log certain vitals during the night of the incident. One anonymous staff member even claimed it felt like an entire shift had been compromised, like people were told to look the other way. Think about how chilling that is. In one of the most protected places in the country, where every beep, every monitor, every single detail is logged, the system failed. Not by accident, by design. Whoever orchestrated this had access. They had information. They had people on the inside. And the world found out almost instantly. The second the news broke, social media exploded. Within minutes, hashtags like Save K. Harris, ICU Kidnap, and Where is King were trending worldwide. Fans dissected every grainy video clip, every leaked hospital photo, every whispered rumor. A blurry 3-second video allegedly showing masked men wheeling King out of the ICU circulated across Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, racking up millions of views within hours. Fans didn't just react, they mobilized. Online investigators began pulling hospital floor plans, analyzing staff schedules, comparing timelines, and spinning theories about who could be behind the crime. Some swore it was revenge from rivals. Others believed it was a chilling industry warning meant to destabilize T.I. and his family. And still others claimed this was an inside betrayal by people King trusted most: friends, assistants, maybe even extended family members. In the digital age, this wasn't just a kidnapping. It became a global spectacle.
Now, let's talk about the theories, because there are plenty. King Harris has never been a stranger to controversy. From viral fights to explosive live streams to public confrontations with his father, he's always been in the spotlight, always on the edge of chaos. Every meltdown, every outburst, every reckless stunt made headlines. But more importantly, it painted a target on his back. The infamous Waffle House fight, the viral clip where he nearly clashed physically with his father on stage, the confrontations with other rappers. To fans, these moments were entertainment. But to rivals, critics, and enemies, these moments were warning signs, even invitations. Every public breakdown was like placing a bullseye on himself, daring someone to act. And then, when he ended up poisoned in the ICU, that bullseye became real. To many, the abduction wasn't random at all. It was the inevitable climax of years of reckless behavior, of ignored warnings, of enemies waiting for their chance. But perhaps the most chilling detail in all of this came from leaks that spread online within hours of the abduction. Reports surfaced that when King was taken, his personal devices, his phone, his laptop, his private files, were also taken. And what was allegedly on those devices? Explosive information, receipts, evidence of industry sabotage, whispers of betrayal from inside his own circle. If true, this wasn't just a kidnapping. This was an operation designed not only to remove him physically, but to seize control of everything he knew, everything he might expose, everything that could destabilize powerful people. One nurse, speaking under anonymity, told reporters, "I've worked in ICU for 15 years. I've never seen security collapse like this. It was planned down to the minute. That's not coincidence, that's orchestration." Things got even darker when days after the abduction, alleged footage surfaced on the dark web. Grainy, barely 3 seconds long, it appeared to show King Harris strapped to a stretcher in an abandoned facility. His chest rising and falling faintly, tubes taped to his mouth, his body fragile, sedated, barely alive. A masked figure stepped into frame and whispered 2 haunting words: 7 days. The clip sent shockwaves through social media,
with millions reposting it and fans around the world demanding answers. Was this proof of life? Was it a threat? A countdown? Or was it just another manipulation meant to terrify the Harris family and control the narrative? Whatever it was, it worked. The world froze. Suddenly, this wasn't just about King Harris anymore. This was about what message the kidnappers wanted to send and who exactly they were sending it to.
However, security inside the prison was supposed to be airtight, every angle covered. Yet somehow, right before the attack, the cameras went dark. Entire blind spots opened up in the exact hallway where King Harris was dragged and beaten. Nothing recorded, nothing captured. And when investigators asked for footage, the response was chilling, unrecoverable. It wasn't a malfunction, it was targeted. Someone wanted silence. Someone wanted no fingerprints. From the very beginning, insiders started whispering. These weren't fans or bloggers spinning conspiracy theories. These were voices inside the prison. Through burner phones, coded messages, and hushed words, one story kept surfacing. King wasn't in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was Leadbear, called into a blind spot. And whoever planned it knew exactly how long they'd have before anyone could intervene. Multiple attackers, precise hits, zero hesitation. One insider claimed flat out, this wasn't beef, this wasn't random. It was a setup, a hit, a message. The way it was executed only fueled suspicion. The injuries King suffered weren't wild or accidental. They were targeted. Skull fractures, collarbone broken, classic signs of a prison-style ambush. Even the weapon allegedly used, a padlock stuffed inside a sock, wasn't spontaneous. It was intentional, brutal, effective, and calculated. And then came the most chilling part. According to whispers inside, guards were nearby. They saw it starting. They didn't move. Some even laughed. And when investigators pressed for footage, the same answer, malfunction. This wasn't looking like a tragic fight anymore. It was starting to look like an orchestrated punishment, violence carried out in silence with the system standing by. As news broke, social media exploded. Prayer emojis, candlelight vigils, stay strong king hashtags flooded timelines. Celebrities chimed in with their prayers. But quickly, the conversation shifted. If King Harris is T.I.'s son inside a secured prison unit, then how does this happen without guards, without footage, without alarms? That's when an anonymous voice allegedly leaked from the ICU. A nurse speaking through static claimed this wasn't random at all. Her words shook people to their core. Her injuries weren't just brutal, they were tactical. They didn't want him hurt, they wanted him gone. Within an hour, that clip went viral. Suddenly, this wasn't a beating, it was an execution attempt. As the story spread, darker details surfaced. Hospital insiders revealed that King flatlined not once, but twice. Doctors revived him the first time. The second time, he barely made it. And all while this was happening, T.I. was collapsing in the hallway. Not the mogul, not the celebrity, just a broken father, knees on the hospital floor, crying and screaming, "Fight, King, fight." That raw footage, T.I.'s cries echoing in real time, shattered social media. People weren't just watching a tragedy, they were feeling it. Fans didn't stay quiet. Candlelight vigils turned into full-blown protests. Crowds gathered outside the hospital demanding answers. They protect criminals better than they protect a black sun, one woman screamed into a live stream that went viral. TikTok sleuths started piecing together timelines, Reddit filled with theories, and even celebrities began posting cryptic messages. One producer posted just 9 words. "When you play with power, your bloodline pays the price." The Harris family, meanwhile, was unraveling in real time. Tiny, King's mother, reportedly fainted multiple times under the unbearable weight of not knowing if her son would survive. Staff couldn't calm her. T.I. couldn't console her. Videos of her collapse hit the internet. It wasn't gossip anymore. It was pain, raw and unfiltered, bleeding into the public. Then came the leak that turned whispers into chaos. A voice recording, allegedly from a shift change, caught a prison guard admitting the unthinkable. "We were told to stand down. Don't touch him, don't help him. just watch. If true, this wasn't negligence. This was deliberate. This was execution through omission. Every piece of evidence pointed to planning. The blind spot, the weapon, the guards standing down, the unrecoverable cameras, the injuries lined up like a checklist. Whoever orchestrated this didn't want chaos. They wanted precision. They wanted a message delivered clean and undeniable. And the Harris family, along with the entire world, was forced to pick up the pieces. Then came the most disturbing blow yet, a photo leaked from inside the ICU. Blurry, but devastating. It showed King Harris swollen, battered, and unrecognizable, hooked up to tubes. Alongside it, screenshots of medical records circulated online, listing skull fractures, risk of brain swelling, and possible memory loss. Someone inside the hospital had weaponized his pain for attention. The line between private grief and public circus was gone forever. What shook people most wasn't just the attack itself, it was the silence. The cameras cut, the guards watched, the system shrugged. It all felt too orchestrated, too clean, and it left the world asking, who sent this message and who allowed it to be delivered?
Because this wasn't just about King Harris. This was about legacy. A reminder that even dynasties aren't untouchable. That fame doesn't shield you, money doesn't protect you, spotlights don't erase enemies. If anything, they paint bigger targets. And now, the world is watching. Not just T.I., not just hip-hop, but anyone who ever thought celebrity meant safety. Because King Harris wasn't supposed to be in an ICU fighting for his life. But when legacy collides with revenge and corruption hides behind silence, this is what's left. Leaked photos, candlelight vigils, viral breakdowns, and a dynasty bleeding in front of the world. Think about what this means. To infiltrate a hospital, poison a patient, silence staff, disable cameras, and abduct someone without leaving a trace? That requires planning. That requires money. That requires inside help. Analysts, both real and self-proclaimed, are now tearing apart hospital protocols, staff logs, and security procedures. Every detail points to one terrifying conclusion. This wasn't random. This was orchestrated. So who did it? Was it rivals seeking revenge? Was it industry insiders sending a brutal message to T.I. and his empire? Was it betrayal from someone King trusted? Or was this simply the consequence of years of reckless behavior finally catching up with him? What we know is this: King Harris is missing. His family is shaken, his fans are in chaos, and somewhere, someone is holding all the cards. This is the story of King Harris, poisoned, abducted, and vanished from a place that should have been safe. But the story is far from over. In the days and weeks to come, more leaks will emerge, more whispers will spread, and the truth, whatever it may be, will shake not just Atlanta, but the entire industry. Where do you think King Harris is now? Was this revenge, betrayal, or a calculated warning shot to the Harris dynasty? Drop your theories in the comments below. Smash that like button if you want more updates, and don't forget to subscribe to Gossip Spielby, because this story isn't finished, not even close.